happened.
And it has happened, as we are live. Welcome to the Gordox Pub, which, because your Prismacolor is upside down, feels upside down. But anyway.
Well, it's just the lid.
I get it. It's just, I don't know, it's weird.
It's just the lid that's upside down. The pencils were in the right direction. Not a sponsor. I'm not even, I'm just trying it for the first time. This is white grape. I think I'm going to have to turn my fan on. So yeah, basically, I still actually have the script open. Yeah, come on. There we go. Turn the fan on. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt too bad.
Well, I can't hear it, so.
Good. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna need that one. We've got like 3 documents open. One that I'm supposed to be working on before tomorrow night. One that I'm trying to help somebody with, and you know how it goes when you're trying to critique somebody and help them out for the first time, and you think, you read the opening and you're like, oh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
And then you notice that it's taking you 2 days to get 7 pages into it because you're commenting. All right, so it's page 6, right? So we don't need Mastiff bringing his fingers to his nose, and because Mastiff and Lamont are both in the picture, we can do the dialogue that's there in the picture. So that would be starting off with the interior shot of Mastiff's mask. I don't know if you've noticed. Do you have the script open? Because you might want to.
I'm looking for it.
Okay. Well, I'm intrigued to start on the mask from the inside anyway, because I haven't done any designs that way. And I think you might be right, as in maybe having a different color. That would be a good idea, to have a different color that way, so that we're looking through his mask.
Well, you said you wanted something like that.
Yeah, I wanted it to be like him figuring out the story, but it's not actually happening. It's happening in his head. That's kind of what I was thinking. I didn't really give too clear of an explanation. So I don't know yet if the layout will be wiser to be like 2 long panels and 1 in 1. So you got the documents open?
I'm still scrolling down to get to it. Oh, almost there. I think.
All right, so the reason that I'm asking is because the second panel says, panel 2, interior shot. Somewhere it says spectrum analysis, unknown, and you misspelled hallucinogen, but I knew what you meant. And then the next panel, Mastiff inspects the wall and he says some kind of hallucinogen, probably how they subdued the runner. So that's kind of redundant.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm thinking. The first thought that I had when I read through this was, what leads Mastiff to the wall from where they subdued the runner? Do you think so? Are you implying? I guess what I'm asking is, are you implying that he follows that hallucinogen powder to the wall
Yep.
because they took him up through the wall?
Well, it says it removes a panel.
Yeah,
Panel
well,
4.
no, I read what he does, but there's no clear motivation to the reader, the comic reader, or me art-wise, what I'm supposed to be doing to get from him analyzing something to him, heading to a panel. See what I mean? There's a missing step between there. So
well,
when
he was bringing his fingers to his mask, it's to indicate that he's actually specifically finding something there that he is tracking, and then.
Okay, so I know that. I'm saying between him getting the analysis of what it is and him opening the panel. Why I'm saying this is I'm thinking that when I show from the inside of the mask, maybe he sees the powder as a different color.
That's
and
fine.
He sees a trail going to that panel. You see what I mean? Like it's just a missing step that instead of him repeating what the mask is telling him and the audience that's seeing it, see what I mean? Like filling in that gap with something that puts it forward from one step to another.
Sure.
Like I'm not trying to tear something down. I'm just trying to fill something because what we think is obvious sometimes isn't. So I was thinking, like first of all, how am I going to show the inside of the mask? Because when you're looking through a mask, you're just looking through the eye slits. You might see some darkness around it, right? So I think that's where we are. Is we're showing like behind the lenses, right?
Okay.
Either that, or we're just showing it in a different color and then showing the readouts.
I'm just saying, okay.
Yeah, well, so I'm kind of working through this with you.
Okay.
Like,
I'm simply affirming that I have heard you and I have nothing to argue against. It's all
okay,
good.
well, good, because I'm not trying to look for an argument. I'm just trying to look for
Right.
reasonably what, to me, unless you're trying to show. So there are, I guess, two different ways of going about it, and for me, it's like when you look through in Empire Strikes Back, when they're looking through the binoculars,
Yeah.
right? They kind of show the shape of the binoculars and everything's spaced out around it. And then there's a reading on the binoculars, but honestly, that's not what we would see. We would see just whatever. If there's a reticle, we'd see the reticle and we'd see the information printed out. That's where it would be just interesting to just do a different color. And then the other end of it is like looking through Michael Myers' mask and you see two eye holes slits, and hear heavy breathing. So, like, I'm actually trying to get at what you were envisioning. Were you envisioning two eye slits?
No,
or were
I
you
was not.
envisioning more of the Empire Strikes Back type?
I was thinking more of the Empire Strikes Back thing.
Okay. Because I was like torn between the two, and I'm like, well, I can draw it like a cockpit, and you see all these little, glowing buttons, not really buttons, but like glowing readouts and colored lights and stuff. Or we can just do the panel in an odd shape, like maybe. I guess the best explanation really is that whole, if you do anything, do a little nose bump to show something's interrupting the panel, right? That's where I am. I think that'd be a better representation of it. You could, put his fingers right here or something.
What if you split the panel? Like you just made two panels, but it's really one panel.
Yeah, I was just talking about putting a nose bump in there, but that's essentially what it would be, because you're not seeing what he wouldn't see what's in between these two lenses.
Right.
He would just see out of those lenses.
But by making that the frame of the panel, it's just a subtle way of doing that. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's going back to making two panels into two eye slits, or one panel into two eye slits.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, and it's kind of not. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you that it's because you're kind of designing it that way, but by only doing, but it's fine. You don't have to. Don't worry about it. Honestly, I just was like.
So that's what I was talking about with this little bump. It would be in the gutter.
Yeah.
And this, you're talking about making a gutter of this, but that's still just two eye slots. And then if I'm going to turn this into two eye slots, I want to tilt this to make it look like you're looking through his eye slots. But I think really what he would be seeing wouldn't be this shadowed part of the gutter. He would maybe see this. maybe I could go, like I could dip it in the middle to show like the visor of his forehead. But I don't know if I'd want to go all out into this unless I'm literally going all out and doing the panel in the shape of the lenses. See what I mean?
Well, again, as always, I tend to defer to you. I'm perfect.
I'm trying to go back and forth a little bit because I'm trying to pick up on what you're thinking as well. Well, let's see, because his hands, like I'm not drawing hands very well in this, but this is really supposed to. So I could do, like, you can look at his hands, or I can do, the readout here, like it's a caption box, but only instead of a caption box, you actually have the words there, and I'm just indicating where the readout would be. And I think I'd want to have him, I don't know, because you can't really show pain, but maybe you could show him, I don't know. Well, no, so here's where I am. Here's my dilemma.
Okay.
Like, if I show him looking at the wall, he would be literally turned around away from where he was, because he was looking out into an open space. And I think he would stand up to do that, so he might see, the guys around him, like he might see the blood guild guy here and the cop here, and then be seeing that trail leading to the panel right here. See what I mean? So the blood guild guy be here, maybe. Questioning. I don't know. Because she's not questioning anything till the next panel, right?
Well, I mean, sure, except for it doesn't necessarily matter.
Huh?
Well, I mean, technically, as the script is, yeah, you're right. It's not asking until the next panel, but if he wants to ask stuff about it,
Well, I'm what I'm looking to do is not put two stiff figures in there. You know,
yeah.
I'm looking to show the figures, but I'm looking to show them doing something. So if the Blood Guild guy's got his hand out like he's asking something, like, you know,
Yeah.
then it's not just stiff. And this is just the game plan stuff. So I figured the detective could be, or the cop, whatever you want to call him. He's a detective, but he looks like he's paramilitary. Tilting his head to ask a question, because he's more seriously picking up on what Mastiff is suggesting, which is kind of really weird. Usually you have the cop being the one that would be standoffish about outside interference, and the Blood Guild guy is the one that hired him, right?
Right.
Just thinking it through as I'm drawing. That's what I'm doing, because I'm trying to animate the figures enough to make some sense of what's going on here. Or I don't even have to show the trail. You can just show like a glow around here with a color hold around that panel. So that while he's talking to them, he sees, a little bit of the stuff, a little bit of the hallucinogen, glowing on the edge of the panel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It only has to be enough for you to recognize something isn't right, and he notices it, right? So you're doing the lettering, right?
That was never discussed.
Well, if you pop up with a whole bunch of lettering, someone's got to figure out who's doing it. I'm not drawing it in. I'm not a letterer. I guess I could use Quick Studio and try to use a specific font. And I have to figure out how to do color holds and all this other stuff. It's weird, but I kind of like the idea of, it's almost like it's drawing it in the reflection of some sunglasses or something. But this is the gutter. I probably should have read ahead further as well, right?
I would say no. Because you know how I am.
Well, I was talking about in reference to knowing what I'm going to have to design for inside here. I mean, it does say exposed wires or whatever, but it doesn't. Let's see. I don't know how far down you come. Let's see. Okay. Unknown hallucinogen. And I put hallucinogen detected. Hmm.
Yeah. I wonder why spell check. Or I wonder why I didn't get a red squiggle on that.
Well, you probably did before you shut it down and saved it. You know what?
What?
We could do not like a well. We can do a bubble, like a word bubble, but only a box like that, and just give it its own specific look for his computer readout. While on the front, where he's looking at it on the splash page, could have that unknown hallucinogen detected there instead of taking up this panel.
Okay.
Because we've got plenty of room to put word bubbles and we could just, attribute it to the back of his head or something like that. It's possible to do it there, but it seems like it would take up a lot of space, and it wouldn't directly relate if he's not looking at his finger, unless uh, it says it on the main panel and then it says it again when he sees this. Highlighting it, like, say maybe it's a blue around here.
Digital Tantrum, I think you're looking at Rich's finger.
Which finger do you want to look at? I can show you my favorite finger. I think he's asking, we're talking about Mastiff looking at his fingers.
Sorry,
see,
I'm a little slow on the uptake.
To see that the hallucinogen is detected.
Oh, well, he just wanted to jump in and say hi. Well, thank you.
It's been like 2 weeks. Nice seeing you.
Oh, you crashed my system. I'm frozen again. It doesn't like you. Let's see if I close this. Nope. Hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Alright, cool. Cool. Oh. Everything's going dark. It's going dark. Oh, there we are again. Okay. Digital Tantrum said it's been months.
Yeah, it's been a while, that's what I was saying. Actually, it's been weeks since we've had any of our regulars except for the silent one.
The silent one. The silent but deadly.
One. The silent one. The one that's always here.
But deadly.
I have an idea of who it could be, but I don't want to name names because I'm probably going to be wrong when I do. In my brain, I have an idea that it's somebody particular. All right, the next panel. Oh yeah, that would be easier.
Oh, I just called him member. Member. Sounds Metallica-ish.
Luckily, at this stage, this drawing doesn't have to pass the sniff test. It's only got to be enough to know what's going on, right?
Okay, so what
What
is
works?
the okay? So you got the glasses panel, then you have this. Then you go down and you have what I'm assuming is Mastiff messing with the panel, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is just
Massive inspects panel.
right.
But so what I see is, like I said, we can take this information and put this on the splash page.
Yeah.
So the questions that are happening in so let's see. Questions
What?
that are happening in panel 3
Yeah.
can be happening right here.
Okay.
And this is him removing the panel. He's inspecting the panel because he sees the panel here, right?
Yeah.
And these two guys, they have one line. So there's room. Like I can move the panel over if I need to. Or we can just break the gutter. So I guess I'm combining the first 3 panels because we can take some of the first 2 panels and put them in the splash page because there's no real dialogue on the splash page. And then we're breaking it down to him and his advisor inspecting the panel or seeing the glowing, and then these guys commenting. So
Digital Tantrum said, "Good to see you back to Mastiff. Thanks, thank you." So on
this would be the removing of the panel so you can see the wires.
right. So his head, the top.
Yeah. Okay, what about it? I'm not drawing this for the panel right now.
I get
ear.
that. This is
This is the other ear. This is the back of his head. This is the top of his head. This is
okay.
the
That's
top
what
of his eye.
This may sound weird, but
this is his thumb from the other hand. This is his finger reaching up over the panel.
okay. So part of what I do, I guess, is some of the descriptions and stuff I've left vague because I wasn't really sure, and so like character design has been a lot on you. So some of the stuff I'm not sure what to write in, so I'm kind of looking at what's going on, and before you trace part of it, the top of his head kind of looked like almost like he was wearing like pantyhose over his face with a little knot of it in the back. Which was kind of weird, and it was just, and I know it's just
where you would see pantyhose in the knot, but like this is veneer. I know that the ear and the thumb
right.
could have a little bit of confusion there, but for the moment I'm just placing the head. Like I'm just enough for me to know that this is Mastiff. You should see some of the professional layouts where, like John Buscema's layouts, some of them are just scribbles.
Well, that's fine, and that's
this is just to know for me where we're at. You're not going to be able to see the back of this arm. There's some confusion. I can see there's some confusion here, and I just darkened this line.
right.
But yeah, you're not going to see his nose and stuff because it's from the back of his head.
Okay, I was wondering if I understood the design of the character, and I knew this is just layout, so
Yep.
I know it's not finished product. I know it's not perfect design. It's layout. I get it.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure I'm on the right page.
Just kind of neat enough so I know what's going on, so that when I come back to it, I can understand. Like, and
That's
I'm
fine.
also trying to be looser with the layouts than I was last time because I went all out and drew a whole bunch of stuff last time that I should have reserved, for the actual panels. We want some of the energy that's going on in here, but
So
just enough to know who he is. The
the
costume, I'll actually have to look at the drawing of him in the splash panel to know exactly where things go, but I didn't want to line up overly trying to detail him yet.
That's fine, and I'm not asking you to. I just, for me, like, I think, I'm not sure if you have it or not, but I know I do. I have kind of a brain dump outline of a possible story. And it, for me, works, and I've developed other things, some of it based on your comments, some of it just as I've been thinking about it, but I haven't solidified it into script. And part of that's because I wasn't sure you were liking exactly where it was going, and I thought of ways of pushing it more outside of the city, more him not surrounded by people.
Well, yeah, I don't want to draw a crowd in every panel.
Yeah, I get that, and so I was like,
and I do like the idea of exploring outside the city, but I wasn't trying to say like you had to go there right now or whatever. Just wanted to keep options open and possibilities open.
well, that's fine, but I was also trying to visualize some of the story because it's kind of hard for me to describe what you should draw if I can't visualize at least part of it to begin with.
Yeah,
So
you don't have to visualize what I should draw. When I'm asking you, like what I just asked you, like what do you think about the goggles and all that, it's not so much I'm asking you for design. I'm asking you for what you were thinking.
okay.
Like what you were envisioning. Were you envisioning looking through goggles? Were you envisioning looking through eye slits? You know what I mean? That's what I was asking. I mean, like I said, obviously we can just do that as a different color to represent looking through his lens, and I kind of like that idea as well. But this puts the viewer as Mastiff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether or not we see the outline of the panel or the panel edges looking like the eye slots or not, if they're looking at him and he's talking, but you don't see him, and you see maybe, well, we don't even have to see him talking, but if they're looking at us and talking to us, and we're seeing this go on in different color, we kind of get that idea, right? We don't have to put meanwhile inside his mask or whatever. We already kind of know what's going on. So, yeah. Like this is in no means it's just working out like from the source material you've given me what I can condense into a more powerful panel. I've been thinking, like I said, when I got that Star Wars trilogy screen, what the hell is it? I don't know why I can't remember.
Concept art.
What's that?
It's
Storyboard.
not concept art. It's
the storyboard. It's not the concept art. The storyboard.
Right.
But the point of reading through that and what you should glean through that isn't really what they designed or drew, but the fact that Lucas pulled a bunch of stuff out of that and goes, this is not necessary to tell this part of the story. We can do in one panel on the storyboard what 4 of these panels can do. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is to make each panel have as much in it as we can, so that when somebody reads through it, like, we can control the pacing by not breaking it down into every little part of a conversation, when a conversation can be implied and when a conversation needs to be spoken, and what needs to be seen that's in the middle. Like, when you said inspects the panel, really, I could have just said, like, we should put a little bit of a powder around it or a little bit of glow around it to indicate there's a reason to inspect the panel. But, and that's what I ultimately decided, it was just to do that. But I felt like the reader needed someplace to go to get from point A, looking at his fingertips, to point B, knowing to go to that panel. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it says it in the script, and that's fine, but unless the reader is reading that part of the script, you know, it doesn't make it, you'll lose something. So I'm just trying to figure out how to maximize each panel and, you know, punch each part of the story that you want to punch. Like, we did that, like, I think we did two concepts, and then I kept changing panels as we went through the last part of the whole bait and turn into a monster on your ass, right?
Right.
Because while it was, the idea was good and clear and crisp, we could do in 3 pages and a little bit less panels, just as an effective an approach. So I'm just trying to do that again. Like, you're giving me source material. It's like you're giving me a clay form, and you're giving me a really an articulated form. But I'm just trying to think of how to detail that articulated form for maximum punch. And I may fail, you know, or you may you may look at what I'm doing and go, hey, you know, we could do this instead, or what do you think about this? And, you know, sometimes I won't like it at first, but then I'll kick it around in my brain and go, yeah, that's right, I can do that, you know. All right. So this panel would actually be this would be him speaking. So you could just be Mastiff saying some kind of hallucinogen, and then the rest of what he's saying, because that's 2 short sentences. And then these two, actually, there's some room to have their replies. And then we're moving to actually panel 4 here. I guess I need to extend that a little bit so that there's room for his comment. So I'm reading panel 4.
Where it says Mastiff removes a panel. Inside can be seen wires, floating crawlies in middle space.
Nope. That's the right panel, but that's not what I'm reading. What I'm reading, and the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I'm wondering why he's in a panel on the side of the wall when you're talking about going to the sewers. Which,
because if this is
I would think would be underground.
Right, so looking at, again, some of the stuff from Kowloon and whatnot, and seeing the access panels that you sometimes saw there with, you know, how do you, if you have a city that's that packed, you're not going to have a ton of room in between buildings or between apartments or whatever. So, but you're going to have some access. It's just going to be really, really tight and packed. So, it's just a maintenance thing more than anything else.
Right. No, my brain was questioning why would you go there instead of going down from where the level is if they're going towards the sewers. It doesn't really matter. It's a small thing. It's just my brain's like, why would you go sideways when you should be going down? That's all.
Well, if you really want to, you can put it that way. But I know
just asking, man. Like that's my brain at work.
Well, I'm just thinking about the buildings I work in, and if you know what you're looking at, there are access panels to plumbing and stuff, and it's in the wall. It's not in the floor.
Yeah, if it's coming down from above, I agree. But if you were going down, yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying if my brain is like the sewers will be underneath.
They are.
And if you're going down into the sewers, then you'll be going down, and he's not Spider-Man, so he's not gonna get up and follow this thing. But yeah, I get it. My brain took a minute to kick on. And I warned you that was going to happen. So.
That's fine, but how high you want the panel was kind of it just says removes the panel. You want to put it closer to the floor. You want to put it on the floor.
Doesn't it say earlier in the wall? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Inspects the wall, so.
But I'm saying if you are like, I'd rather it be on the floor.
Right. But all right, so maybe once we get the opening open, we can see a ladder going down or something.
Yeah.
Or like an attached ladder going down. Just something to keep in mind that makes it make more sense. They just flung the dude down there. He's hung up in the wires. He looked like Spider-Man, but only drunk. So we widen this panel so that he can say his bit. And then this would be where the panel is open. It's not specifically written in there. It's written that the blood deal guy points at it. But I think if we have it, open, maybe just show his hand or something. With the panel piece. And then you can actually go over this with the. Actually, you can go over that with the trail leads down or whatever.
Trying to find I guess my file. If you're saying you're not seeing the same text I'm looking at, and
I don't know if I'm seeing the same text you're looking at because I don't know what you're looking at. And I think, it's not so much wires as pipes, right?
I don't know.
Sewer.
Well, we're getting there,
I
yeah.
think there would be more pipes than wires in a sewer. I just indicated, that's all.
I don't know. There we go. There's. I would think so.
There probably would be some, but like I would think maybe like hot water pipes and drainage pipes and air pipes. Oh, I know.
I mean, ultimately, it's not that important.
Right. It's just background. But I want to
Yeah.
kind of make it look believable, right? That's the whole point, is that I want to make it look like you exist in a believable realm. And then maybe we could show like the color holes on some of the rungs. So it's going down. Like there'll be a color hole on this part, a color hole on this part, but nothing up here. So kind of you can see some of that trail that he's following. I don't know. I fully admit I could just be full of shit. Just trying to think of how to make this work in a logical way. That way no one's like, hey, how does he find this? How does he following this? Because I'm doing a critical read for somebody right now. And a lot of that's popping up in my critical read, right?
Oh.
Like, so I guess I'm trying to get ahead of it for our stuff. That could almost be the panel. Then you have the dickhead blood guild dude going, well, go after him, you lazy fucker. Dear God, you will pay me for. You have to go back and look at him too. I just know that his face is a great. Hmm.
How tall do you think Mastiff is?
Pretty short.
Okay, well,
I don't know. We haven't said anything specific, but I figure he's really really wide, but he's really really short.
okay,
Well,
so the,
Uh,
my
I
only
wouldn't
problem with
say
it,
I wouldn't say like under 5 foot or anything like that, but you
okay,
know maybe anywhere between 5'6" to 5'8", 10", like
okay, so
whatever you want to put it at. But
I had it as 5'7".
all right, so there you go, right around there.
Well, I just wanted to make. I was like, I remembered you wanted him shorter, and I was like, okay, short is a matter of perspective,
Yeah, it's not a very specific term, but
right? I
Wolverine's
just was like, all right,
supposed to be 5'5" or something like that, because they keep changing it. But I was thinking short like Wolverine, but like wide like Pitt. There were a couple of other inspirations. These got to be bigger because we got to change the size of the characters. I'm not sure what he looks like right now, so just a face mask. He's the tallest guy in the room, though.
well, the reason why I was looking to see if I had the right script, because I normally make a copy about every time we do it, and this one's dated the 17th of August.
Yeah, I don't have a date on this one. Every time I open it up, it tells me when the last time I opened it up was. That's about it. It has 7 pages and 1,021 words so far. Does that line up with what you got?
How many words?
1,021.
Oh, that is not the one I have. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if it might be an issue of a did something on Word versus Google Docs. If that makes sense. That's why I'm having trouble finding it. I don't know. Gonna do that for a moment. This bigger. Huh. I don't. Like, I have more words than what you have. So I don't know if I'm looking at it more. And I looked at one that's older. I don't know. But the reason why I was concerned is because I'm also looking over some of this and I'm like, I had some plans that were a little more interactive. Oh yeah, I started to get into it. The waste manager.
Interactive.
Well, with him doing something other than just. Oh, let's. They also have 8 panels.
What's that?
I have 8 panels.
8 panels? What do you mean?
Or 8 pages.
This one has 7 pages. I don't know if there's 7 scripted pages.
Now this is 8 scripted.
Nope.
You're fine.
It's just 7 scripted pages, and it barely goes by one line over onto the page 7. So. Yeah, so I'm drawing page 6. Yeah, I am, because I combined some stuff early on. No, wait a minute, that's weird. It goes from, because you got it blue where I've done, it's page 1, 2, 3, yep, and then 4 and 5 is a double page spread.
Right.
Yep, yep. This is page 6, and then there's page 7, that's it.
Yeah, I just don't like page 7.
Well, fortunately, I'm not to page 7 yet.
Well, I know. I'm trying to catch you before you get there. I guess. I mean,
You caught me. Trying to give you positive, man.
thanks.
Like I don't know if I'm happy with this page. It's just a starting layout, you know.
Right.
Like I don't know if I like just this panel being blank there. I suppose I could just, fill this whole panel, but I don't want to. I don't want to turn. I've got him looking here and then pointing this way, which that leads to the next page. So
Well,
that's
yeah.
this leads to this panel, which leads to this panel. There's nothing pointing at this panel, but this is a big panel, and then he points to the next page. So
Um. hmm. Okay, I'm going to run this by you just because we're in the layout stage and I can. So, what if we move the panel instead of being in the wall into the floor, like you had said? Well, I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's
no. I'm listening and just laughing because now I'm at the last panel on the page.
Well, I get that, except for this would change the layout of the whole page because
Yeah,
it would be.
that's what I'm saying. They're
It would be.
changing the layout of the whole page as I'm
Well,
doing the last panel.
so
Okay, go ahead.
it would be the top panel, him looking at the crime scene still. So I mean, so you could see the stuff through his lenses like that, but it would be, I don't great something on the floor, however you want to do it. Second panel would be basically the exact same thing, except for he's reaching towards it. And then the third panel would be just, it wouldn't be through the lenses anymore. It would be the hole going down. And I also don't know why I always like this idea or why I tend to think in this way. But You know how the goggled look. You have kind of like the strange gutters.
Yeah.
What if it was a large picture of the whole centered where the third panel would be, but it's the whole panel, it's the whole page with the goggled ones then on top of it? Or would that be too confusing?
Hmm.
Or is that just something you're like, nah, I don't want to do that? Because you can do that too.
So, like, if I had to rethink it, which is kind of,
What I just said, I know.
yeah, kind of what you're doing.
And again, I'm okay with it the way it is.
If I had to rethink it, well, like I said, I don't know if I'm happy with it, but I'm not unhappy with it because of the source. I'm unhappy with it because I think this is really not very active. There's some confrontation here. That's good. There's some involvement with the reader here. That's good. So I could see taking this and then, making him look at a manhole cover or something. I don't think I would want him reaching for it. I think I'd want him just straight going to opening it. You know what I mean? So you don't want that 1, 2, 3, 4 step. You want to skip the 2 steps in between. Just you see it, he fucking acknowledges it's got something to do with the powder, so it's a trail that he's gonna follow. He opens it up. It's great that he sees down to it. Maybe you want to have the last panel him climbing into it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's whatever. That's fine.
Or maybe there's a pipe, like in Cloud City, how they had those openings that they would just shoot down sideways, but I don't know, just thinking, because we've got enough room to play with the futuristic aspects of it.
Right.
I do like having, confrontation here. I almost don't know. I mean, I can see him being confronting and go like, well, go after it, or well, go do your job. But I almost think that the cops should be like a little bit standoffish about leaving or allowing someone to do his job or usurp his authority, or you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I don't know how well you thought that cop's character out yet. So I don't know if I'm kind of just interrupting what you're already thinking. So let's set this aside for now. If it doesn't blow off. I'll get the fan going because I've had a tendency to overheat in the last couple of days. I need to look at the big splash page drawing of him and really solidify his costume. I like what I did with this helmet there in that page. It almost has an anime type feel to it, like it's like a Transformer or Voltron or something that actually becomes something else, even though that's not what it is. It's just it looks cool to me that way aesthetically. All right, so redoing this instead of doing his eyes, he's already looking at the ground. Now I've got to be in that position, looking at the ground, because he wouldn't see. What does he see? What's on the other side of those two, of that corner, you know?
What do you mean?
So, the splash page, all of the stuff that goes on in the first 3 pages,
right,
basically goes on in a common area, which we don't show the common area because we're showing the people and we have to leave room for the dialogue. But then when he follows her into that basically V formation that's behind them in the splash page. So I don't know what he's seeing opposite that. You understand what I mean?
I just thought it was a wall, but I thought the guy had been.
So for looking at it from above, the splash page, he's in a place that has an opening right here to another room right here, and the people are lined up around this wall, and then there's a small section here. This is in through here is where the Blood Runner followed his bait. This right here is where we see the main characters. I'm saying, what's in front of him? You see what I mean now? Like, because if he's still squatting down because he's going to see the manhole cover, I guess it doesn't matter. I just show manhole cover, right?
There you go. I like that answer.
Or even,
I mean, it could just be great. I don't really care. I don't
well, you know,
know how many manhole covers they're going to have.
It could have. Letter coming up out of it, you know? Because obviously it's a work area, right?
Okay.
Yeah, someone would have noticed. So I don't think I can go with that. I don't think I can go with the ladder coming up out of it. So it would be some type of grate cover. Or grate, yeah. I mean, it could be like a rectangular grate. It doesn't have to be a circle, right?
Right. Which I would think the grate would be a hell of a lot easier to draw than a circle, but
It is. But we picture manholes as circles, so I'm trying to think of, you know.
right. I just know that if it's a place like Kowloon, I don't know if they would have had manhole covers.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they probably would. But we're not in Kowloon.
I get that, but I also know that
We don't have to worry about what Kowloon has. All we have to do is worry about what we want to have, and that's what
I get that. I understand that. I just know that I tend to go back to the inspiration piece, and when I don't have any particular reason other than I need something, you know.
Yeah, Kowloon's a loose inspiration, though, so I guess I just want you to keep in mind that I'm not going to try to draw everything strictly to Kowloon, so if you're imagining...
Oh, I'm not either.
If you're
I have,
imagining everything that way, then you're going to be
I'm
off
not.
from where I am.
No. I don't care that much. Like I said, when especially when I don't care, I just need something. I go back to the inspiration piece, so I can say, okay, what do they have? All right, I guess that's what we have, and then I move on with myself. And then if I need to change it because there's some better reason or whatever, some plot device I need, I'll go back and I'll change it. I don't feel bad about changing it because I'm not trying to do Kowloon. You're right. I just know that, but it's one of those things where it's like, well, if I don't really care and you want it to be a manhole cover, then go for it. Let it be a
Yeah,
manhole cover.
that it that doesn't matter. Like when I just to me, like when you say sewer, I wanted to attach something that automatically says, going towards the sewer. And I just think that would be more on the floor than would be in the wall, even though you're completely right in your justification, or your reasoning, not justification. I don't want to sound like that, but um, you're completely right, and it's completely logical to say that the access panel would be on the wall for the floor above, but definitely, right? So you'd have one, and that makes sense. But
it's also not that important of a detail, and
it's
that's why.
not. I'm just trying to play off. So when is a cliche good? No,
I suppose
literally, when is a cliche good?
when you need shorthand.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. Is that this is basically trying to have some shorthand for this is leading to the gutters. This is leading to. So yeah. And it makes it more like putting this in the sewer grate in like that, and I can put some boots on the guy. We're only going to see their legs, which is another aspect because it's not just trying to focus on the bodies or whatever. And I don't have to answer the question too much, what's over here, because it really is a low perspective, so you wouldn't see it anyway. And I've got to leave room for the conversation. So all this thought process is being recorded.
Yeah.
And people can do this on their own without having someone to bang around back and forth over.
Tends to be a lot easier, I think. Well, I don't know if it's a lot easier because you also have to bang heads more often, but I think it's a useful thing to record. As a creative, I would. People are often interested in what's your process. So understanding that, there's some stuff that you let go and some stuff that you don't. And,
some stuff you have to be open to, especially with collaboration. And that's another lesson here.
Yeah.
Is that some stuff you have to be open to letting go or not having too tight of a hold on. Like when you said I'm on the last panel there, and when you said, well, I'm going to reimagine this, I laughed. I wasn't upset. I laughed.
Well, if you had never been, it's like, yeah, that's what I want.
You're going to reimagine it, so it was more humorous than insult or whatever.
Well, I would hope it would, the layout stage is the stage to...
Yeah, other than the scripting stage, the layout stage is the next step.
Right.
Normally in the real comic process, you let go when you let go of the scripts, because
Right, I know.
unless I call and ask questions or whatever, the artist just goes from the script and their own imagination. Like a lot of the times, depending on the writer, like I said, Neil Gaiman, he writes quite a bit of detail, but he writes the detail that he's going to use later. It's like the whole Chekhov's gun thing. He wants the gun in there if he's going to show it later on.
Right.
While Alan Moore wants to control every single step of the process, even to repetitive squares, like it's the repetitive newscaster squares, and he wants to still describe the repetitive newscaster squares. Like, yeah, no, I don't need that kind of information. We already know it's going to be repetitive newscaster squares. I gotta go back and look and see what they were wearing, see if the boots. And I know what the military guy was wearing, but I'm not really sure what I did with the blood guild guy. So I know it was. It was less important. We're still actually developing. We just had the key thing was the split face.
Okay, I'm going to do my midstream stretch. I'll be back in just a moment. Oh, and I'm back and wheezing. Ooh. Hopefully I can catch my breath. Oof. Did you switch back to square?
What?
I said, did you switch to square?
What are you talking about?
Well, I thought there was a circle there.
Dude,
For a
there's
manhole.
a circle here. There's been a circle here since we decided that square would be easier to draw.
Well, okay, but
That's what I was doing with all this. That's a grid.
I think there was a lot more circles still there before I left, and then
Nope.
I was gone.
You may have thought about that, but no, it was gone for a while.
Okay.
I've been tightening this grid up and drawing the boots and stuff. I drew this grid before I tightened the boots off. I did these little X's in between the grids before you left.
So what did you think about that Tyson fight?
Yeah, it wasn't a fight.
Yeah, pretty
was-
disappointing.
It wasn't. No, I mean it wasn't a fight. It wasn't a fight at all.
Okay.
Like, first of all, I said that there was a rig anyway. The whole time I've been telling people that I totally believe that it was just to get Mike Tyson money and to. So Jake Paul is trying to be the Hulk Hogan of boxing. He's trying to bring the audience back to boxing. And he's quoted as saying he's the face of boxing. So basically, he convinces Tyson to go in the ring, but if you watch that fight, Tyson had all kinds of fucking openings to Jake's body, and he throws these really short punches that they're air punches. They're like a foot and a half away from hitting anything.
Yeah.
And then he's staggering and everything else long before he ever got hit.
Yeah, you look tired.
And the announcer's all like, oh, I don't like the way his legs look. I don't like the way his mouth looks. I don't like the way blah, blah, blah looks. But he had plenty of energy after the fight.
Yeah.
And then if you watch his training videos, he's way harder on the guy he's training with than he is with fucking Jake Paul. He doesn't throw any of the punches that he's known for. The fucking body punch followed up by the over the top fucking right into the face punch.
Right.
Like none of his signature punches were thrown. Jake Paul was all like, I'm gonna kill him, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna knock him out. Neither one of them were trying to knock anybody out. It was all about making money. It was all about exhibition. I mean, you wait until midnight for a fucking exhibition fight, and you know they held it on Netflix because it's not a real boxing match. It was sports entertainment, just like wrestling. And I said that quite a few times, and then I guess Jake Paul literally came out and said it was rigged. Like, no shit. Who thought it wasn't rigged? I felt like I was watching WWE, sorry. WWE now.
Yeah.
WWF
We're not watching the
in my
World
day.
Wildlife Foundation.
Like I said, WWF in my day.
I know. Back before the WWF got greedy and Oh, people will be confused by wrestling and wildlife.
Well, that's
We'll
that's
never
why you
figure
buy
it
a
out.
trademark, though. I mean, that's why you buy a trademark. It's not the confusion between wrestling and whatever the product is. It's the confusion of uh, the name to go to a website or whatever that says WWE or WWF expecting the wildlife thing.
Oh, it was wildlife.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what they're saying is basically you could confuse. Like if you just heard WWF, you could confuse that with their association. But when you own a trademark, that's why you own the trademark, right?
Yep.
So that you own that trademark so that people don't use it. And I think that was kind of stupid because nobody really confused them. And I don't think anybody even knew who they were until they did that shit.
Well, I knew who they were.
I'd never heard of them until they fucking did that shit. But
Oh, they used to have things that where they'd try to sell you like subscription shit to some magazine. It's for kids.
I just never heard it, that's all.
That's fine. I mean, I would say it's more
don't really-
recognizable than what happened to Eric July.
Oh,
So-
I think it's probably the same. Because there's a certain demographic that recognizes it, and then there's a certain demographic that doesn't. But either way, I mean, I think the same thing happened. Somebody fucking knocked him out just to fuck with him. You think about WWE now, and who was running it at the time, who just started running it. He pissed some people off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's almost a sure way to get people to fucking call and narc you out and go, oh, how can I get him in trouble? The whole thing with Eric July, though, is that he was just too lazy to do the research. I've been thinking about our situation. And I know that temporary cures that can keep us safe while the fucking trademark process would have to go through. You know what I mean? Because all we have to do is publish a Mastiff story about these characters in this setting, and then we've got the copyrights. You know what I mean? Like we may not have the trademark on the name design, but we have the copyright to the story. So anyone that tried to copy the story, which is really what we'd be worried about, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just have to come up with something that we could co-copyright. Yeah, I remembered enough to remember that the cops has segmented kind of armor on his feet, like sabatons. Hey, you're the one that started this process all over again. Have you heard anything from your story yet? From
No.
the werewolf story?
Nope.
Yeah, me either. I haven't heard anything from the comic story either.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Which I really like my comic story.
Well, yeah. Do we write things that we don't really like?
Occasionally. I've written stuff before where I
Do we
was like,
try
"Man,
to
this is
publish?
nice."
Do we try to publish things we don't really like?
Right, but it's one of those things. I mean, I just know
Like
that.
If I don't like something, it becomes an exercise. Goes in a file folder somewhere,
I just know that, like,
never to be seen again.
the shared world aspect of that, I could easily get rid of and probably retool. So, and it got me thinking about that particular character in mythology. And in fact, it really got me to think completely differently about that character in mythology. Like, enough to the point where I just like, yeah, this guy is woefully underused. So, anyway.
If I say Franco Colombo, do you know who I mean?
If you say who?
Franco Colombo.
Franco Colombo. Not.
That would be a no, huh?
Yeah, I guess not. I guess I don't. Sorry.
Okay, so he's like one of the first people you see in Conan the Barbarian. He's the scout that pops up on the rock with the painted chest and stuff. He's a bodybuilder, and he was really, really good friends with Schwarzenegger. But he's like 5'5", something like that, because he and Schwarzenegger standing next to each other could be Wolverine and fucking Colossus.
Huh. Okay.
Well, so you were asking about how I've been picturing how I'm picturing Mastiff, and that's it's not quite dead on, but it's a good idea of proportion as far as, and that dude was a massive bodybuilder. He was like training Stallone. Competed against Ferrigno and Schwarzenegger and some of those big, huge bodybuilders. They're kind of cheating on some of the proportions because, like, the Hulk's hands are never, not realistically going to be bigger than his calves. Not realistically going to be bigger than his thigh muscles or whatever. But I'm kind of throwing a little bit of that in here. But, you know, like, that's a good reference to look at if you want to be on a similar page. I guess it came up because you were asking me earlier how big Mastiff was or how short Mastiff was. And
Well, that's because I was trying to.
I'm exaggerating his girth, but that's kind of what I picture as Franco Colombo.
Part of what I was trying to do was get a little bit more organized and
Right?
kind of have a style guide in a way, I guess, story Bible / style guide. Um, so that I knew, I guess, so that if we want to go in different directions, we kind of have boundaries or guide rails, I guess, to help
Yeah.
us.
But I'm still trying to keep with that sentiment. I'm just giving you a visual, something you can look up to get an idea. I don't even know how tall or short Franco Colombo was. I can picture him in comparison to Schwarzenegger because there's photos of him and Schwarzenegger together pretty often. So
Well, yeah, I just saw one where like he comes up to Schwarzenegger's shoulder.
right,
All right. And in my head, I was kind of thinking of my wife, just because I can put my chin on her head.
she may not like that. She may not like you thinking of her when you're thinking of Franco Colombo.
Well, I was just thinking of height wise,
I'm
where
just
that
being
would be,
smart
and
ass.
how big that I was like, all right, how big is this person gonna look, and stuff like that.
But that gives you a pretty good idea. So yeah, see, it changes the dynamic of the page if I can just have him ripping the gutter out. He doesn't. He's not in this scene because it's through his eyes, and then the next thing you know, he's removing.
Well, that's kind of why I thought I should. I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like a good place to pause and see, if there's another better way of doing it. I guess.
Yep. Yeah, it's just the information we want to relay, right? And
Right.
actually, technically, I could go, okay, so I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to be looking at him up through the gutter. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm framed by the gutter.
Yeah.
So, and that's another interesting. But then everybody's in an upshot that way.
Yeah.
So that's still just as possible as well.
Yeah. That'd work.
But it adds drama to it because you show, if you're showing his view, and then you're showing, oh, you're not revealing what he finds in there, but you're revealing, you're showing him dramatically rip this gutter open or whatever. Like if the panel was like this, no, I guess it would have to be like this, but could be going from the inside of the tunnel system that he's going down. That's an interesting look, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got a cop through here, and the guild guy over here. Just add the, and that's the other part that you want to not forget about is you want to have that dynamic look because that's what made comics big in the 80s is like Rob Liefeld's not a great anatomical artist. He never claimed to be though, but he's not. And there's a lot of people that they kind of rip on him for it, but his job is not to actually draw fine art; it's to tell a story in the most dynamic way that he could possibly do it. And that's what made him and McFarlane really kind of special. Because McFarlane, when he started off, his anatomy wasn't that good either. It wasn't that good as well. So yeah, and that leaves, technically, if we wanted to, that leaves a long panel at the bottom and maybe a funky triangular panel where we can just focus on the blood guild guy. And then it would make for an interesting panel as well. And you could actually get close and maybe extreme close up on the blood guild guy's face. Of course, I don't know what the blood guild guy looks like, but I'm just making this up as we're going on.
Right.
Maybe there's a cost to being the blood guild guy? Maybe it ages you quicker, or does something where it would want to hide his face. kind of a more dynamic panel construction. No, you don't think so?
I think it's great. I just was thinking about, the Ang Lee Hulk movie.
Ang Lee, yeah,
So
with Eric Bana,
yeah,
Jennifer Connelly. And
I remember watching that.
Too?
What?
Was Sam Keith in that too? Wasn't he General Ross?
Oh, I don't remember. I think so. But I remember watching it, and I was like, okay, they're going for because they have all these panels and weird screens, and I was like, oh, they're trying to make a movie look like a comic book. Okay. Yeah, that's terrible. You should stop that. I remember thinking about that in the movie theater because I was like, it's just distracting as hell. And I thought that could have been a fun little intro thing, but not for the whole movie. And I was watching some video on YouTube, and somebody was praising that, like it was like such an amazing concept, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's kind of an obvious concept, and why do you try to make a movie into a comic book? Like, they're two different things.
Sin City.
I would say Sin City did it better.
Well, it did do it better, but it didn't have the blueprint for it until Hulk.
All right.
Like, you ever watch the original? Well, you ever watch the Spawn movie? Not the HBO cartoon, but movie.
Yeah. The one where they nerfed. I mean, they wasn't it like PG-13, and it was all right.
The one where they did special effects and they looked atrocious, and
yeah, well,
and they had
the
Michael
time period, it was like
White, and he really can't act, and there were a whole bunch of things wrong with it, but I bet you it brought a lot to the audience, to a lot of audience to the comic book. Even though it was like the best-selling comic book of its time or whatever. Because Todd McFarlane was the #1 comic artist of his time. I'm not sure if Jim Lee actually outsold him, though.
Well, I know that. I mean, Todd McFarlane's definitely got skill, but I think he's also got skill as a marketer or a salesperson, however you want to put it.
Yeah, definitely he does have skills in that department because he's relentless and doesn't quit. And if you watch interviews with him, he talks about that as part of it, because he feels like the difference between success and failure is to not quit. But he's been drawing Spawn, I guess, since grade school or something like that. He just didn't really name it Spawn. But if you look at Spawn ever since he became a comic book, he's pretty obviously a mix of fucking Spider-Man and oh shit. Now my brain is not a little brain. It's got a very heavy Spider-Man influence anyway.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. I
think it's a Spider-Man Batman combination, really.
I enjoy his work. I don't know if I enjoy his storytelling as well. And
you're talking about the actual words, right? When you say that,
Yeah.
when you say storytelling, you're talking about like what you read in the comic book. You're
Yeah,
not talking
because
about the art,
no,
because
I'm not.
Todd McFarlane isn't really a writer. I mean, he's a writer for Spawn, but it his 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 fame is due to his skill as a storyteller artistically,
Yeah.
which is what I was talking about with him and Rob Liefeld. They're they're great in that department. They can get you to follow the story.
I just wasn't ever as big
Definitely.
of a fan of for Todd McFarlane stuff.
What's that?
I just thought Todd McFarlane's work was it's very obviously Todd McFarlane, which is normally a good thing, except for it just seemed like he was kind of doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, I mean, it's style. If you
I
look,
know.
Todd McFarlane isn't really doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I just was, and you're absolutely right. It's just a matter of
Well,
which
I
one
mean,
did I find more interesting, and I just
I
didn't
guess
find his.
what I'm saying when I say he's not doing the same thing over and over is that he did kind of change his style once he got working with Greg Capullo, because Greg Capullo is much more anatomy proper and correct. But McFarlane, but we talked about this before. McFarlane is a cartoonist. Again, he's not trying to be realistic per se. He's trying to tell a story with his art. So, and he has inspired many, many artists for that same fact. Same thing with Jim Lee. I mean, Jim Lee is a better artist because he's better anatomically and detail-wise, realistic-wise. I think I would put Will Spataccio in that same boat, or Will Spataccio, however you say it. But they are also good storytellers as well, right?
Yeah.
And McFarlane's main thing was to tell the story. He does, like, there's a lot of videos of him on YouTube basically giving advice and doing portfolio critiques and stuff like that. And the critiques that he's got, the value in the critiques that he's got, are not about how to draw a person properly and how to draw whatever properly. They're much more about how to tell a story and how to do it in a visually interesting way. So, he does have that in spades. He can tell a visually interesting story, and most of his work in Spider-Man or whatever, his backgrounds, his buildings and stuff, you can tell that he traced them from photos. But you're on a deadline, that's what you do. And besides that, who cares, right? They're not really focusing on how well you draw a building. They're focusing on how well the story is told and how believable it is. What you see the difference, if you followed Greg Capullo, if what you'll see for a difference in Greg Capullo's work before and after he worked with Todd McFarlane is that he had the whole anatomy down, and he does well with anatomy, but also he works out. He's kind of like maybe amateur bodybuilder or whatever, so he's got reference in his own body, which, that's not all of us have that. But after he worked with McFarlane, and as he was working on Spawn with McFarlane, he became much more cartoony, much more expressive in the facials, and much more expressive in body tone. I don't think he, like now he's not anatomical or anything, but he's not concentrated as much on the realism of the anatomy as he is on the storytelling part. So, McFarlane, that's what he has. That's his gift, is that he's tenacious and he can tell a story. He can make that story very readable, whether or not he knows the body parts that should be shown in whatever perspective it is. I think those are his strengths, really. But I watched him do portfolio interviews, and it was really interesting what he put the importance on. And he owns a company, so everybody wants to draw Spawn, and everybody wants to work for Image or work for his studio or whatever. And he tells them, it's important that you read this. Like me talking about how you don't want to have everything the same size. Right. This face is a lot bigger than this face, because in a storytelling progression, you want to be able to focus on different parts, closer, further away, and it's visually more exciting when your eye goes to the next panel and it doesn't see the exact same thing. For instance, we were talking about the whole panel by panel of the newscaster. And it's basically the same exact picture panel by panel, but they're saying something different, right?
Right.
How fucking boring is it when you flip the page of a comic and there's fucking 9 panels of the same picture? And then there's all kinds of fucking dialogue in those 9 panels. It's just boring. Nobody wants to see it. They want to skip right over that part because it's just boring. Now, if you show the person watching that newscast and their facial reactions as the information is being delivered, that's much more exciting. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that it is exciting, but it's much more exciting, and you're going to have much more people happy with reading that, or at least finishing reading that, than you are just panel by panel shit. Yeah, I'm much happier with this type of panel.
Cool.
Because, I mean, we can see action, we can see different perspectives. So we got feet here, and we're going to have exposition in the actual comments between the two. And there's still room to throw comments in here. And we've got the close-up of his face, so he can be saying that whole, well, follow him, or follow them, or whatever. Although, that sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah.
After them. After him then. Like I understand what you're saying, but...
Well, again, I already didn't like... I mean, some of it I don't like already, and I want to revise.
Yeah, well... But now I've given you an idea, visual idea, where you can play around with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we've got this big panel, this bigger panel, the smaller panel, focusing on the Blood Guild guy. Uh, and then we can have Mastiff going down in O. Nice let that run for one more panel. That's actually makes 5 panels again. 2, 3, 4. Okay. We want to do something that's going this way.
Remember that scene in Aliens where they're firing off the automatic sentry guns, and you know they have the blips, and they're like coming through like between floors. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not at the moment, but
Oh.
I probably would if I wasn't concentrating on this.
How much does the layout influence the final artwork? Well, I'm saying like, okay, so here's my idea, or my thought, I guess, which I guess is the same thing. I don't know, but and I'm going to point up my screen, which you can't see, so just know that's what I'm doing because why not? So the panel on the left where your 3 fingers are, where he's going down into the hole. What's above that and to the left in the corner space?
This?
What's a little bit higher than that?
This?
Yeah, what's that?
That's the next panel up. That's just a pipe conduit. Just something random that fills the black space.
Okay, so here's just a thought, just a concept. And I don't know if you need to redraw anything per se. That's why I was asking about the layout affecting the final thing. But what would happen if Okay, you have your top panel just the way it is, the feet, the grate, whatever, and then you centered the, because I think it's a little bit to the left, right? The panel with no, the center panel in the center with Mastiff holding the grate. That's a little bit to the left, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just making sure my eyes are working, that's all. So what would happen if you centered that, and then you would have...
I wouldn't have this.
Well, hold on. You still in that shape, that trapezoidal shape, and then imagine bifurcating it beneath so that you have two kind of messed up triangle pieces, and on the left would be the guy, the blood guild guy looking out, so it'd be a little bit bigger, and on the right it would be the Mastiff climbing down like you already have. So we just it would make those two panels bigger. It would get rid of the one that you're looking at right now.
What?
It would get rid of the panel where he goes down. The one that you're working on right now in the bottom left hand corner. Get rid of that and make the two on the right bigger. Just a thought. And the other reason why I'm saying that is because we start at the top above the floor, and then we're below the floor, and then we're kind of above and below. I don't know. It's just kind of.
And then we're looking directly into the blood guild guy's mask.
Yeah, I get that. I just.
And then we're at the level of the floor with him going down.
Right, but he's going down in the one next to it too.
This?
I mean, I realize he's. What?
He's underneath.
Right, so it's just a little bit further along in the same process. So the one that you're working on now kind of implies the one that you worked on to the left, which is why
for the blood guild guy is pointing and saying something here.
Right, but I just thought we could make the blood guild guy bigger on the left, talking, and then Mastiff bigger on the right, going down, and it just makes those two parts bigger. That's all. But if you don't want to do it that way, don't do it that way. I don't care. I'm just saying.
I don't want to lose the other guy, though, the cop.
Okay.
That's the reason that I actually. First of all, this is not going down into the panel. This is going down, but this is underneath.
I know.
So it just gives you the idea that this is a ladder. He's got, and this, first of all, this is not the size of the page that I'm going to be drawing on.
Okay.
This is not even dimensionally accurate. Being down the side. It's just an idea of the layout of the panels. This way, we're getting 5 panels.
Yeah.
I could take that out. I could just have him saying it there, and then him climbing down into that there.
Well, no,
I don't think I would mess with this too much. I would maybe put some pipes in here just to show that there's something underneath of there.
See what I was trying to, and I get that, and again, I have no problem.
We could eliminate this panel, but then I'd want to have something. Some reason. This is the reason that I'm having him climb down a ladder here. For 2 reasons. One is showing a ladder, and then he's not just jumping down. And if it was just a jump, then I'd show that as well. And the other thing is it leads you to the next page. So he's facing that one.
Right. So all I was saying was that picture in the bottom right would be extended up through where the gridded guy's face, where the Blood Guild's guy face is, right above it. It would just be him climbing down. On the other side, the pipe would be gone, and the bottom left would also be gone and replaced with the Blood Guild guy, so that
Like just him standing here?
no, I would just make the face bigger and it would fill up that space. So like
You mean
it's
take this and move it here?
there and up because you're making it bigger. See the corner?
So that's what I'm saying. You're taking this and moving it here.
Yeah. You're replacing the pipe and the you're going down. But we don't have to.
This is an extreme close-up. I think this would be a lot of space to waste on the extreme close-up.
Okay. And that's
I mean, they do it, but I don't know. Like in this stage of where we're at, I don't know. Like if you don't like this panel, that's one thing.
Nope, that's not the problem at all. In fact, there's no problem. I just thought I would.
We can find something else to actually put here. I can run that pipe actually closer to where the vanishing point should be. Right now, I'm just trying to put an idea down. So it wasn't necessarily that this is going to be the exact. It was just to get the layout, so I know basically who's where, and we may redraw all this anyway, but I like this panel now. I like this panel better now.
Okay.
I actually like this panel.
Okay. I will tell you.
This panel, I'm not super hot, not super cold on. Like it's just an idea for him to be the dickhead leaning down and telling Mastiff to do his fucking job or whatever. Like it's not supposed to be anything special. I just don't want to. I mean, I could do a even extreme close up on Mastiff's eyes, even closer than that. And, maybe he's grumbling under his breath or saying, "Why don't you do it yourself?" or whatever.
Well, as weird as it is, I really like the way the middle panel of him pulling the grate up leads you into the tunnel itself.
Right, but you're looking up from the tunnel.
I get that, and I thought the Blood Guild guy on the right, that's his space to say his dickhead thing, and so when the panel above leads you to the bottom as strongly as that one does, and then we pop up above it, that was the part that I was like, that's the part I guess I don't like about that panel on the left. Whereas the panel on the right at the bottom is below the.
So you would prefer this to still be looking up?
Yeah, I guess. So that the middle panel where he's looking down, kinda is us looking down into the tunnel. Even if he's already crawling down, it's kind of leading us. Whereas when he's looking down, but then it's above him, I thought that was just kind of weird.
Yeah, it changes it's supposed to change the dynamism because you're going, into the distance here and you see the grate. Then you're looking from under the grate showing him pulling the grate. Then you're showing, the focus right on him saying shit. This panel, this is kind of a little extraneous, but the panel development, I don't even really know what I'd put here to go long ways. And that's the thing. Because I'm trying to find something to go long ways instead of it being he is in the hole. He's half in the hole. So
Right.
if you're looking at him, you're looking at him as right going into that hole. This is still kind of an upshot. This is basically upshot out of shot. And then you show a side panel of him climbing down. So I mean, like I don't know the exact dimensions of what we would have left on the 11 by 17. I think it's just a little bit longer than this way. I don't know. We don't have anything really set for this panel. I was just playing around with the idea of him being a dick. I mean, yeah, he could be a dick right here, but the idea was just to have him looking condescendingly because he's squatting down, you know.
Right.
That was pretty much the idea of this, is just showing him. I wanted to show his body language kind of leading you to believe that he's feeling superior to Mastiff. And Mastiff doing the grunt work.
Yeah.
This is where he doesn't have to worry about him anymore. Which, that could be some great comments to go around, thought bubbles or whatever. Or I could, take this panel and maybe have the cop bending down, helping him down. So he's and then that way, and I don't want you to forget, the cop is there too, because he's part of this scene and he's important. So,
right.
Especially if he's the detective, and it's interesting. I mean, I suppose he's more like a Commissioner Gordon type character, where he seems to know Mastiff and trust Mastiff's doing his job, whereas the guy who's actually hiring him isn't.
Well, so, that's.
I don't know.
Okay. That's not exactly the guy hiring him, so.
Well, the Blood Guild guy is the one who's hiring him.
Well, not the Blood Guild.
I thought he was hired by the Blood Guild to find a Blood Runner.
No. No, he's hired by the... No. Nope. No, because at this point, I'm trying to throw shade at the Blood Guild.
Okay, so I missed something at that.
It's all right. It's one of those things where... Like, I know what's on the page, like the images, and I think we're fine. Like, when I said I don't like page 7, yeah, it's because some of that seems like I'm pausing. Like, it stops the flow, and I know why I was doing it, but I don't think we need
so
to.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Why is the Blood Guild guy here and not the guy who's hiring him, or a representative of the guy who's hiring him?
Yeah, because...
I mean, you don't have to have an answer, I guess, but...
I do. I have an answer, actually. That's one of the things that I've been working on during this time, is some of the stuff that you were having questions about. I wanted to have better answers. And, like I said...
I'm annoying that way.
Huh?
So I'm annoying that way.
Well, no, it's a feature, not a bug. But,
well, I guess it depends on who you ask.
Oh, okay. But, so some of the stuff I've already accounted for. And, Yeah, I know why
So
the guy's further
you're
away. I know
changing
it's
page 7?
huh?
You are changing page 7? The idea is you're changing page 7?
Yeah, because where it stops, and he says the trail's compromised. At least on my version, it does.
I
Uh,
hadn't gotten to page 7 because when I talked about reading it, you were like, don't do that yet.
good. No,
That's
I,
why I'm asking. You're changing page 7, so I'm going to focus on this page. So we've got
yeah.
to find a better panel for here, and I guess that's where we'll pick up.
Okay.
We're at that time.
All right, we can do that.
Not like we can't run overtime. But I just don't know.
Fine.
I really don't know what to put there because unless there's a next part of the story that I can forward, you know what I mean? I can pull forward because I can put, I can move this panel over here.
Yeah.
Slightly tilting it up so that you just see enough of the manhole to see maybe one of their heads or the cop's head or whatever. But then we need something else that leads you to the next page. That's not a big deal, but unless you have the next part of the story there, you know what I mean? It's going to be hard to try to guess what that could be, unless I'm just ad-libbing, you know.
No, that's fine. We'll pick that up next time. And I may have an idea for you before tomorrow night, just so you know.
What for this?
Well, for that bottom section, because yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I will. I don't know. Like I said before, like right now, they go so far, and I was trying to keep them in the city, and I never got the feeling that you were super thrilled with that. So,
I was not opposed to it. I just didn't understand. Like, I had questions because I didn't really understand what we were doing with the bad guys or whatever. You had that clear in your head the whole time, and for me, I'm like, I'm not sure if we're going to be going different places with it or what. Move him down, so to speak, disappear. We're here.
I've worked on. I don't want to say the antagonist more, but I guess I've worked on some world building, which I guess is more of a contagonist issue. But it is the world they live in. So just working on some of that stuff to make it all jive a little bit better. So I'm happier with where it is, but you don't know where that is yet.
Yeah, like I'm not sure. Like I'm making guesswork, and I'm not approving or disapproving. I just originally this world wasn't just confined in my brain. It was just dangerous outside, and there were people that were willing to risk those dangers. But that was the old.
No, it's still like that.
So,
in fact, I've more like that than what I was doing. I have a reason. I just tried to make sure that I knew a reason. Yeah. Anyway, I know where I am, and I'm gonna. I don't know how to do it in Microsoft Word. Huh. Oh, well, I'll figure out the best way to share it with you as soon as I'm kind of done.
Yeah, well, you were saying that you were having a hard time breathing earlier, so. Yeah. And it's getting to that point. I turned the fan on because I was, really very long.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Good night.
So, do your thing.
So everyone that was here, and I guess only Digital Tantrum actually spoke, but thanks for hanging out for a minute. Anyone that hung out, watched, liked, subscribed, followed, any of that, thank you. Feel free to comment. Let us know if you like the direction we're going in at all times. Or put your own work or channel. So, all right. Good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace out.